Hello and welcome. My name is Caitlin Davis, and I'm the Agricultural Extension Educator for La Crosse County. And we're here today to talk about the Farm Succession Virtual Workshop Series called Cultivating Your Farm's Future that will be held this winter of 2023. And I will turn things over to Joy Kirkpatrick to talk a little bit more about the why behind that.
Great. Thanks, Caitlin. My name is Joy Kirkpatrick, and I am the Farm Succession Outreach Specialist for the University of Wisconsin's Madison's Division of Extension. And the why of farm succession, of why is farm succession such a hot topic? First of all, it's demographics. The Pew Research Center reported that starting on January 1st, 2011, that 10,000 baby boomers turned 65 every day, and they would be turning 10,000 of them would be turning 65 every day for the next 19 years. So if I'm doing my math right, that means we still have a few more years of the boomer generation hitting that sort of retirement age milestone and maybe thinking about what retirement might look like for them and for their farm. The other thing is that some of the research about farm succession planning it shows that few farmers have what we would call a true succession plan. They might have an estate plan, but maybe not how to transfer a lot of that management piece to it. And a lot of times, many of them haven't even officially or formally identified a successor. And then there's also that question of whether farmers actually want to fully retire. That same research that I just mentioned says that farmers who, about 3/4 of them have indicated in that survey that they will never or only semi-retire. And then for many farm families and farms, there's inherently that mixing of business and personal decisions and money. Just the fact that the home is also considered a business asset a lot of times can make that planning maybe a bit more complex. And for example, just because that owner generation might want to slow down or on the work side of things, does that mean that they're ready to move out of the family home? And then there's those land values. The next slide shows that the farm real estate values by state for 2022. And as you can see from the legend, the darker red indicates the higher value per acre. So when you look at that upper Midwest where we are in Wisconsin and Illinois and Iowa, just looking at that, there's pretty high concentration of those darker red colors. And so the question is, with that higher land value and it being such a high capital sort of business, right? A farm has land, it has machinery and maybe animals as well. Is that if there's a next generation that's coming into that business, can they afford to pay that going market rate for land, as this slide indicates the value that we're looking at? So then the question is, we always talk about the three buckets. What do farm families or farm businesses usually want these assets to be? So for many farmers, the farm is their retirement plan. They reinvest any profits that they can back into the business to grow, improve, and modernize. So they might not have that extra to invest into an IRA or other types of retirement plans. And farmers are, if anything, excellent tax managers. So they may plan it so that they don't have to report a lot of income. Therefore, they're not paid a lot in Social Security when they do retire or start taking Social Security. So for these reasons, the farm has to be their retirement plan. They need to either sell their assets or stay in the business to provide for their later years. And then we think about if a successor has been identified, maybe already committed heavily to the business, those same assets are needed for them to continue that business. So those are that green bucket of business assets. And then also, if there are off-farm children or maybe your successor's not related and you have children, if you're the owner generation, a lot of times those same assets are used as inheritance assets. So then the question is, can it be all three of these things? So for these many reasons, farm succession can be a hard discussion to start and maintain over a long period of time to get the plan in place.
There are a lot of things that farms can do before they meet with their accountant and attorney. And that is having intentional conversations around what they want and organize that information that they need for those meetings. This series can help prepare you for those intentional conversations and provide tools and strategies to organize that information. At the end of the series, you won't have a completed plan. This is intended to be a really good start for the succession process and provide you with key next steps once you complete the series. The series will provide you with a framework for facilitated conversations with your peers, and with the homework and expectations that you come prepared will help provide you with the accountability to keep moving forward in your planning process. So what is a flipped classroom? A flipped classroom helps you to utilize the time in live sessions for activities and group discussions. So unlike a typical webinar lecture classroom style, we will be flipping it on its head, so to speak, and we'll be looking at doing more interactive activities in those group discussions. It also provides you a chance to watch that content ahead of time and read at your own pace. Once you're enrolled in the workshop, you'll have access to a Google Drive folder that is unique to the class. That means we will need email addresses for anyone who you want to participate / have access to the folder. In the folder will be all the materials you'll need for the 3-week workshop series, including agendas for each live virtual session, access to worksheets, and pre-recorded videos. We can help troubleshoot issues before the course begins and as you move through it if you have trouble accessing that information. Each farm will get one hard copy of a workbook, the Cultivating Your Farm's Future. If you'd like additional hard copies, it'll be $15 per book. Our 3 sessions will follow the structure of the workbook. We will be utilizing research worksheets from that workbook. And the 3 sections that we will be following are: where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how do you get there? You will get an email each week with the homework assignments, along with an estimated time frame of how long it'll take to complete each of those tasks. So who should attend? With it being a virtual, it allows for multiple business partners or family members who may not live nearby to be a part of a succession conversation. This program will also work for transition to either family or non-family members. Farm businesses and farm families interested in shaping the future ownership of the farm family. So we're encouraging multiple generations from the farmer family to attend the same series together. So if you are the owner generation, you may be wondering how to transfer a viable business to the next generation, or determining how to divide farm assets. If you are the next generation, you may have questions or ideas about your future role in the farm business. So what can you expect by attending? After finishing, you'll be prepared to communicate, write, plan, vision, and shape the legacy of the farm business, as well as save time by having those crucial conversations before visiting with key professionals. So kind of diving a little bit deeper into what topics will be covered. As mentioned before, this isn't a completed plan by the end of the session or end of the workshop series, but a chance to get a really good start and key next steps for after the workshop. It'll help determine what you want to get out of your farm succession plan and developing the next generation and your legacy. Holding family meetings and intentional conversations, choosing and working with key professionals to help you along in your succession planning, and thinking of what is fair versus what is equal when it comes to the legacy of your farm. So when is the class? So there are 2 workshop series being held in the winter of 2023. The first series will be held January 24th, January 31st, and February 7th from noon to 1:30 p.m. The second series will be from February 16th, February 23rd, and March 2nd from 6 to 7:30. Now, these live virtual sessions will not be recorded, and that is in order to have more authentic conversations and a chance to really dive deeper into the topics mentioned before. So what is the time commitment? As mentioned, it's a 3-week workshop. We have 3 live virtual sessions. They're an hour and 30 minutes each time. There'll be worksheets, discussions, and reflections in between the live sessions, and each of those will help you prepare for the discussions and group activities to have better discussions and group activities during those live sessions. And now I'll turn things over to Joy to talk a little bit about some important dates coming up.
So the main thing that we want to point out is the important registration deadline dates. The first registration deadline for the series that starts in January, that deadline is January 17th. So we'd want you to register by the 17th so that we can mail out the materials to you by surface mail. The second deadline for series that starts in February is February 6th. So we just want to make sure that we do need a little upfront time, even though we're meeting with you virtually and nobody has to drive anywhere and we don't have to plan food. We do want you to know that we do have to mail some things out to you. So the other question is, how much does it cost? We are charging $100 per farm. This includes one workbook, as Caitlin mentioned before, a folder of materials, and you'll have access to those course videos and those 3 live sessions. If you'd like extra workbooks, it is $15 additional for each additional workbook. And while $100 and you don't even get any food, well, we also think that this is going to have a really good impact on getting your plan together. And we really want to encourage that you invite and have as many from your farm or family members, depending on how your family or your farm is set up, many of those members as possible to join the series with you, because I think that is a key. This isn't going to be something where you can take the lectures and just run with it. We really want you to have conversations. So that's why we're encouraging you to invite more people from your farm to attend.
Thank you for attending. And if you have any questions at all, our contact information can be found on the slide currently. So that is Joy's email and phone number, and that would be my email and phone number. And feel free to reach out to either one of us with any questions you might have about the program. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in January.